You know, it's kind of refreshing to have a horror film come out on Friday the 13th and be about Friday the 13th without it actually being Friday the 13th on Wednesday the 11th, because that's actually when this movie starts. Hello and welcome back to another movie review. As always, I'm Kelly and I just got out of Freaky. This film is from the same person that brought us Happy Death Days 1 and 2, and it's pretty much Happy Death Day again, but instead of time loop, it's slasher movie plus Freaky Friday. And for it being just that idea, it does it very, very well. Though this film is not perfect, while it does have some very admirable traits, and by God, this is the best that we've seen Vince Vaughn in years. Like, this, he is having so much fun with this role. It is genuinely enough to just go see him on screen playing a 17-year-old girl, as well as Jason Voorhees. And it's not even subtle, it's supposed to be Jason Voorhees. With all that said, I can't say that I was fully entertained or engrossed into all of this movie, and I do feel it goes on too long. In fact, it has basically two endings, and I don't think the second one is fully worth it, personally. This really could have used just one more rewrite to, tighten up the screws, and maybe a better casting in a couple of departments, just so that the more boring parts of it are a little bit more entertaining. And that's it for pretty much all of my non-spoiler thoughts. If you want to hear more spoilers, keep staying on. If you just want to hear the rating, here's the time code to skip to. From here on out, here be spoilers. As always, starting with the good of this film, again, it's Vince Vaughn. He is carrying this movie. He is having so much fun playing both Jason Voorhees and this 17-year-old girl that he's swapped bodies with. And you can tell just how much. It's just him being him in every single scene. And what I mean by that is that this is the Vince Vaughn from like the 90s, early 2000s, who was willing to just dive head deep into whatever he was doing and give 120% and make it look like he does not give a fuck. At one point, he literally starts making out with his quote-unquote crush in the backseat of a car, and it is the most hilariously awkward thing I think I've seen in a film in a while. And there's even subtle touches where Vince Vaughn is the 17-year-old girl and she just realized, God, I smell like shit. And what'd she do? She sneaks into school to take a fucking shower. Before dealing with any of this shit, she has to take a shower. And when Vince Vaughn comes out of that shower, he's got the towel wrapped on his not long at all hair. And he's just like, oh, it feels so good. It's so fucking stupid. I can't stop laughing. But then again, also him as this 6'5" killer who's really killing these people in gruesome ways. We'll get more into that in a second. They even have a discount Jason Voorhees theme playing in the background in the first 20 minutes of this movie whenever he's on screen. You know, the shh, da, 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 shh, da, da. They have that, but with off-brand sounds. So it sounds a little weird, but it is really recognizably the Jason Voorhees theme. It's one of those skirting of the copyright lines that is genuinely hilarious. And to add cherries on top of all of this, is that what would a slasher movie be without some amazing kills? And there's some really freaking fun kills inside of this. They are bloody, they are gory, one person gets nailed to a wall that just looks fucking amazing. But by far, the best and funniest kill is death by tennis racket. And no, it's not by beating them with the tennis racket. It's by stabbing him with it. But the way they stab him with this tennis racket is one of the funniest visual comedy gags I have seen in a while. Mostly because it looks so bad, but at the same time, it's kind of horrifying. I love it. And this gag really does show how tongue-in-cheek this movie is. It knows it's a slasher film, and it knows that it can play around with a lot of these slasher stereotypes. Though, unlike, say, Deadpool or Deadpool 2, it's not them, saying they're smarter or better about it. It's more of the Shazam way, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're self-aware enough to know what we're doing, but we're having so much fun, so who gives a shit? And because it's playing that Happy Death Day comedy, but also serious mentality, it does sometimes feel like there's a little bit of a tonal shift, but I feel that this movie does balance it out very, very well, and is genuinely having a great time with it. Would I say it's as good as Happy Death Day in that regard, though? No, and unfortunately that's going to lead us into the bad. When you boil this movie down, it is a gimmick. It's the Freaky Friday body swap gimmick. That's it. And that is a two-part fold. Both sides have to be equally as entertaining as each other, or we're just going to be bored half the movie. And unfortunately, this falls into that category a little bit, because while Vince Vaughn is perfect, I kind of feel his counterpart, this girl, is not. This girl, Catherine Newton, is pretty much fine in the movie. I actually do like her when she is herself, before the body swap. It does seem like she knows how to play a teenage character and give them a lot more depth while still giving out some cliche lines. You know, it's just subtle movements here, a look there. You know, this was just a very well-directed person who could do that part. But when they switch it over to the killer, I don't get that same kind of commitment out of her. Don't get me wrong, at first, when she first wakes up as this Jason Voorhees-esque killer and is completely silent and doing the head moves and nods and things, it really does work. It is visually kind of funny, but then the problem comes into play. She's this silent Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers-esque killer for the next 45 minutes to an hour? Really? And I get they're going for a Jason Voorhees Friday the 13th style of this movie, but I feel that it wasn't very entertaining to watch. And it was noticeable, especially whenever we switch back to Vince Vaughn, and every scene that he's in is killing it. Every scene that she's in is not. Even some of the kills that are committed while she is in this body, it just does not seem as fun. And I think that maybe one more rewrite where she starts off as the silent type, but as things keep progressing and going on, she kind of morphs into a much more talky, you know, Freddy Krueger-esque villain here for a little bit. You know, she's just enjoying the youth that she's been given and how much more fun it is that she can lure these people in as like a honeypot trap versus the usual, I just break your fucking door down in type thing. I would have really liked to see this killer kind of go through this just journey of their own through this movie and really play up some slasher movie stereotypes here. And again, give me some bad puns. Give me something, you know, some banter back and forth just to go along with all of this. But because they didn't, it's noticeable that these scenes drag so much more than everything else in the movie. And while we're talking about things I'm not 100% on board with, the friends inside of this, they're fine, but they run right up to the edge of just being kind of annoyingly cliched. Don't get me wrong, they have some very fun moments both with Vince Vaughn and Catherine Newton, the girl. I think I mentioned her name, I might not have, my bad. Again, they're not terrible, they're just not as entertaining as other aspects of this film. And again, it just shows how much more fun Vince is having compared to everybody else. Also, I wasn't a fan of just how unlikable they made some of the bullies that get killed later. It's a very, very common trait in slasher movies where they make so many people just unlikable so you cheer them on getting killed. But especially the teacher inside of this that's bullying Catherine Monroe's character throughout all of this. That kind of shit would have been called out and sent to a school board within 5 seconds, especially in the modern age. I don't think that he was a very well-written bully, is all I'm saying, and his death didn't feel as satisfactory when he finally got killed, especially since he was killed by the serial killer and not the girl he was torturing. But then we get to the last thing I think was a negative, and the fact that they had 2 endings on this, because they swap back, you know, the cops come in, they shoot the Jason Voorhees character, he's flatlining inside of the ambulance, and then you see that it's just the thing, the little monitor fell off, and like, oh no, he might be alive. That feels like where it should have ended. You know, that's just the very standard slasher movie ending. However, it keeps going for about 10-15 more minutes after this point. This so they can have an actual, you know, end fight scene between Vince and Catherine going head to head and bringing in all of the family supporting characters inside of this, which it's fine. Again, it ends on some nice gore at the very least, but I feel that it was one step too far, especially with their end rah-rah, I'm a fucking piece one-liner ending. it just didn't feel right. It felt like that should have been cut out and maybe left in on the extended edition when it came to DVD. But then again, this movie is barely an hour and a half, so maybe that whole sequence was added just so that it could make its theatrical time limit. But overall, I would say this film is a very, very, very good watch. I don't know if it's actually worth seeing in theaters personally. However, I can't deny that I had a lot of fun with this movie. It's funny, it's fun, it's gory as hell. It loves the slasher films it's both making fun of and homaging. I honestly can't think of a better horror film out right now to go see. This is just a whole lot of fun, and my personal recommendation is see it at a discount theater price. However, given that mask mandates and potential second lockdowns are coming, I'll push that to a wait for Netflix/Redbox, which is probably a much more realistic and safer rating to give this film. It is my normally see it at a discounted theater price. However, be safe out there and wait for Netflix and Redbox. It's still worth your time to seek out and enjoy. It has problems, but I will still recommend it to you nonetheless. And that's it for me. Did you enjoy the movie? Have you seen Freaky? Tell me what you thought about it in the comments down below. Let's get some healthy discussion going. And as always, if you like what you saw, be sure to support the channel by liking, sharing, subscribing, all that jazz. All those things help my channel grow, and hopefully one day I'll be able to make 1,000 subs. Who knows? Maybe my next video idea might do it. Also, I stream on this channel every Thursday night. We had to push it back to the more standard 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. However, if things change, I'll push it back forward just so you don't have to stay up so late to see them. And yeah, that's it for me. So I guess I'll see you guys next time.